Let's Science is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give.
3, 2, 1.
We live in a universe of scientific wonders.
Every day, scientists are inching towards breakthroughs which can change our lives.
We're playing our small part in sharing these wonders with you.
That's why today is a fine day for science.
So let's science.
Caroline, what are we talking about today in today's episode? Caroline?
Oh, sorry, were you talking to me? Oh, sorry, is it me? Oh, sorry, my mind went blank. I'm really sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Oh, that happens to all of us, doesn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
What
I'm
were you
talking
talking
about today. I'm talking about mind blanking.
Oh.
What a coincidence. All right. Okay. Okay, we're done.
I've forgotten what to say about 5 seconds ago.
And it's a real phenomenon.
It is.
I actually came
What is
across
It's still going. We're still going. Oh, no.
Sorry, I'll stop now. Yeah, okay.
We're not that old yet. We're good.
nothing to do with age. Let me
True.
explain.
Okay. I understand.
So I actually came across this article which covers the topic that a lot of us can probably relate to, which addresses the question, why does our mind sometimes go completely blank? Like 1 minute we're thinking, the next minute, nothing. And it's been assumed that our brains are constantly thinking and processing. We think, we feel, we respond to our environment, but sometimes we just don't. So I know I can relate to it. So often I'll be talking to someone and then I'll just completely forget what I'm saying. Like God, like a blank brain. Or someone asks, what are you thinking? And then you're actually like, oh, I wasn't thinking of anything, nothing. Or another time, I'm putting myself out here. It scared me a bit, this experience. So actually I was at the supermarket and I went to the self-checkout. You know how you can go check your product out yourself at the supermarket. And I proceeded to pay using my phone. I got that far and then I'm like, what do I do with this? I actually forgot how to do it. I even said out aloud, how do I do this? My brain went blank.
Yeah.
Wow.
Blank.
Then it came to and I figured it out. But I thought I was maybe starting to experience, like, is this the beginning of some brain issue that I'm having?
Oh, no.
Hopefully it actually fits into the category of what I'm going to cover today. So I want to ask you guys.
Here's my conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
I think our brains are running on Windows 10. I think that's what it is.
No.
Yeah.
I was going to say Windows 7, but maybe that's a bit
the
too
beach
far.
ball, not the beach ball, that round blue. Sometimes your brain just does the round blue circle, and I think that's what it is.
Circle of death.
100% it does that. Now, I wanted to throw it over to you guys very briefly. Can you both give me an example of maybe a time when you've maybe had a brain blanking experience?
You go, Lino.
Oh, okay, me. Okay. Oh,
It's just
definitely.
happening right now.
There you go. Oh, many times. Especially when your partner asks you, have you done this? And you go, oh. Yeah. There you go. That is a drastic and dangerous way to have a brain blank there.
Yeah, because you asked me to do that. That's right.
That's right.
Of course, I remember.
I totally forgot to vacuum the floor. No way. Yeah. All the dishes needed to be taken out. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that too. Oh.
It's funny.
Yeah.
And Lindsay, you got an example?
I've got two. All right. So one is, because I'm a teacher, right? So I have to remember
lots of things, man. Yeah.
Right. And sometimes someone will say to me, who is that student who? Or who's the teacher I go to for? And a lot of times I can picture their face and the name doesn't come. And it will literally take 2 to 3 minutes and suddenly the name pops in my head. It frustrates me to no end, but that happens sometimes. Not all the time, but happens sometimes. And I sometimes wonder what my brain's going to do when I'm older. But yeah, it makes me think about that. And the other one, and this is a strange one. Sometimes when Isabel, my wife, when she tells me to do something, she'll say, oh, this and that. We'll talk about something. And I'm fully locked in. I'm focused. I'm listening to what she's saying. but I just forget what she just said, like right there and then. And it frustrates her, right? Because I understand it. I go, yep, and I've got it. And then suddenly it's like it just falls out of my ear or something. You know what I mean?
It seems to be a common husband-wife experience.
I think the second one is probably more related to marriage than it is to anything wrong with my brain.
I was about to say the word marriage, but I didn't want to get into that realm. Into that realm.
You know what, Lino, you and I, we're married to people. We can say it. It's all right.
True.
But definitely the first one is the one that gets me. Or even I'm using my computer at work. I've got folders for, I know, go to the Catholic Identity folder for this. Go to the Prayers and Services folder. Like, it's pretty common. And I've set it up as like an automatic process in my brain. So I know go here, go there. But once in a while, I'll be like, where do I put my prayer services? You know what I mean? Like mental blank.
Yeah, mental blank.
It just pauses.
Guys, thank you for those. But I have to tell you now, I feel a little bit better about the whole thing because a review of studies that was recently published in July this year titled, Where is My Mind? A Neurocognitive Investigation of Mind Blanking. Okay, yes. And this was compiled by two researchers, Thomas Adrillin and Athena Demertzi, who both completed studies individually, and they've compiled their results together to come up with some interesting conclusions. Now, both researchers are actually working towards having mind blanking as a term that will be recognized as an actual mental state of its own. I've come up with a definition that mind blanking is defined as the complete absence of mental content. No thoughts are in your brain. Zip, zero, nothing. So it's
I can relate.
It's the study. In this study, it is clearly differentiated from mind wandering, where your thoughts change from one to the other.
Yes. Yeah.
There's content there. So it isn't mind wandering or a lack of focus. It's more like a lack of conscious awareness, or it's simply an empty state of mind, which means it is a phenomenon that's reportable, it's distinct, and it's measurable mental category. So hence the study. So the study shows that it can happen during times of resting or at times when focused tasks are being performed. So you can be resting and quiet or actually busy and doing something when a mental blankness hits.
Oh, wow.
So I'll go, So I'll quickly go through the studies. So they both did a separate study. Adrillin performed a study using EEG to measure brain activity on 26 individuals where they viewed a computer screen and their response to stimuli was measured. They were interrupted periodically and asked to report their attentional focus in the moments just before a stop sign appeared on the screen. And they were to categorize their mental focus as either 1, task focus, 2, off task, which means focusing on something other than the task, focusing on nothing, or I don't remember. And then
all of the above.
All of the above.
Yep.
And Demertzi's study was similar. She used an MRI scanner with 36 participants while at rest with their eyes open. Their stimuli was presented them on a screen to view. And to capture their spontaneous mental states, the participants were randomly interrupted 50 times by an auditory probe. And an exclamation was visible on the screen before the sound was made. This sound prompted them to report their mental state from the moments just before they heard the probe by pressing a button. And their possible choices of mental state were mind blanking, which was absence of thought, sensory perception, which was an awareness of a sensory stimuli, stimulus-dependent thoughts, which were thoughts that related to the task or the environment, and stimulus-independent thoughts, which were daydreaming or mind-wandering.
Oh,
I analysed the MRI and the EEG results that they both received from the study. They were able to report the mental states and connect them to specific brain activity patterns. So they came up with some interesting findings. They had behavioral and neural findings. The neural means how the brain was acting. So the behavioral findings were that mind blanking is not that common. People reported mind blanking far less frequently than other mental states. It's reported to be 55 to 20% of the time, which is a third less when someone's mind wandering, which is probably a good thing because you don't want to be mind blanking like a lot.
Wow.
No.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. It's quick. So when people did report mind blanking, their reaction time was faster than when they were having thoughts or when they were performing less demanding tasks, meaning that mind blanking might be a content-free state, meaning there's nothing to mentally process or evaluate, so the response was quicker. However, sometimes reaction times can be slower when a mental blank is reported. If someone has reported to be feeling tired or sluggish when they're performing a sustained attention task, so like a longer task that they pay attention.
I understand. Yeah.
They said it's like a mental relay. So the study found that people are unlikely to transition directly in or out of mind blanking from another mental state, like having thoughts or mind wandering. So like you're going from one thought to the other. This isn't like that. It's a transition. It just means that mind blanking might be acting as a brief pause when your mind shifts from one thought to the other. So it's like a bit of a break in thoughts.
Yeah.
They found that through the study it was quite uniform. So the occurrences of mind blanking were spread evenly through the study and during different tasks, indicating that it's a spontaneous phenomenon and not simply people getting tired or sleepy over time. So it was something that was actually happening during the study. So in the brain, they found that it is a distinct brain state. So using MRI and EEG, the researchers were able to see specific patterns of brain activity just before a person reported mind blanking. The participants were given 2 different instructions, to think of nothing or to let your mind wander, and the brain's activity patterns were significantly different between the 2 conditions. So the brain activity during mind blanking was measurably different. The overall brain signal or global information processing was higher when measured. This could be a sign of something they called neuronal silencing, which means a state where the brain cells briefly quiet down, and it's similar to what happens in the early sleep stages. It's quite interesting. They also found that all brain regions synchronized and showed something called global positive connectivity. This is very interesting, and it was found that during mind blanking, the brain actually showed a unique pattern of all-to-all positive connectivity, which means that most of the brain regions were highly synchronized and talking to each other at the same time in a uniform way. And it's thought that this activity is thought to prevent the brain from actually creating a distinct complex signal that needs to form a specific conscious thought, which leads to the mind blanking experience. Now, the researchers themselves said that mind blanking has similarity to brain patterns seen during sleep, which may offer an important clue to its function. Deep sleep, also known as slow wave sleep, coincides with important cleanup work for the brain. It clears away accumulated waste, it cools the brain, it conserves energy and helps reset the system after a full day of mental activity. They also suggest that mind blanking may act as a mini reset while we're awake. So early studies in Demerzi's lab, she's also doing further study, it suggests that sleep-deprived people report more mind blanks, adding to the support of this idea. So both researchers stress that this state is likely a way for the brain to maintain itself. It's not ideal for performance, but sometimes it's needed. They also mention that perhaps people who are stressed or people who have some conditions like ADHD may experience this kind of thing more often. In concluding, they said that the study shows that mind blanking is real. It's a spontaneous mental state with a unique brain fingerprint. It's not an attentional lapse, but a temporary state of nothingness, and it's important and distinct part of our mental experience. So, guys, I feel a whole lot better about this phenomenon.
Much better about that, yeah.
It's an actual mental state. It's not a sign of something serious. Or is it? I guess they're going to have to investigate further.
Do more work, yeah.
Exactly. As mentioned, I know that in my own personal experience, I've become more mentally blank when I'm going through periods of stress or there's high demand of my time or my brain, different sources of life. And it's something I hope they do more research in the future. And also I think that it's great that we have researchers that are interested in the way our brain works. Not only is it super interesting, but it's like comforting to know that at the same time we can find out why our brain reacts a certain way. So there you go. And in the show notes, there will be links to all the studies. So if you're interested, you can go and read them in full for yourself. There you go.
Amazing. Yeah, I find that because there are days and weeks in my job as a teacher where they can be high pressure because I also have a leadership position. Part of my leadership is organizing events. Like we just had recently a Year 12 Reflection Day, which was the first 2 sessions of the day. Father Rob Garley are talking to our Year 12s. We did something new where cause normally he would do mass for the Year 12s in the 3rd session, but we brought the whole campus. So you know, over 1,000 kids, 1,300 or 400 something for mass, and that was a new thing. And then he did a music workshop in the 4th session for our school liturgical choir. So it was a full day and a different day as opposed to anything else. So in the weeks leading up to it, the pressure naturally builds up, not because I don't know what I'm doing. You just got to meet deadlines. You've got to make sure, and when you don't meet a deadline, you've got to compensate in one way or another. So there's a bit of pressure. So I did feel the brain needing to reset every now and then. There's a mild feeling of anxiousness, not anxiety, but you feel anxious about it. There's also the brain is going, is it going to go well? Have I thought of this? I hope I haven't made a mistake. Have I prepared every person for every role? And then there are some things that you do for events like that that can only be done at a particular time in the process of preparing it. So,
that's true.
For example, there are some things that can only be done on the day that you can't do the day before. And there are things that can only be done the day before that can't be done in the week before, et cetera, et cetera. So, I found that there were a few blanks every now and then where my brain said, you need to stop, you need to reset, and I'm not doing any more work for you for the next 10 seconds. It's
very interesting, isn't it? I don't think it's great that they're studying this kind of thing, and then we know now that when our brain is overwhelmed, it just really needs to take time out and just not do anything.
Don't do anything. It's just calm down in like almost like a reset button on your
exactly
on your
reset button.
Reboot, start again. And I was just quickly, I thought, is this sort of a step where we can find tests and results find out about Alzheimer's, Caroline, before it happens towards a person, or is that something different?
I think Alzheimer's is a different thing. It's a different condition that happens in the brain. This is more, what I can gather is more like the brain protecting itself. Like when it's overwhelmed, there's too many thoughts, too much going on in the day, and even the brain is an organ. It needs a bit of a rest sometimes, and it just does it for that few seconds. It just goes, okay, thinking of nothing. I'm just going to slow down for a minute and then we can start again. It's more in that context.
And I wonder if sometimes it might have a little bit, not completely, but just a little bit to do with age. Like maybe when our brains were younger, we could process a lot more. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just guessing. But all I'm saying is that at my stage in life, in my 40s, when my brain gets overwhelmed, I find that it is useless to try and fight through it and keep going. It just doesn't work. So the best remedy for me, if I'm at work or even if at home, I have to get up and walk away for 5 minutes from what I'm doing. So what I do is I just walk to the staff room, I make a cup of tea or coffee, usually tea if my brain's overwhelmed, and then I come back. So I've had a few minutes of fresh air. I've got a cup of tea, usually green tea or something relaxing, and I come back to my desk and I find I'm more ready to work. I'm more ready to get back into it than if I had just tried to force my way through that overwhelmed brain feeling where it's just like everything processes slowly, or you can't remember that thing that you're trying to find for that next thing. So it's like, this means I need to walk away. I need to just leave it and come back in a couple of minutes. 100%. And the fresh air and the tea and all that really helps, I think. I have a similar experience on my work days. It's high intense brain work all day. And I'm the same as you. If I just really can't think of how I'm going to get through this little part of work, I just need to get up. And I actually find by the end of the day, my brain is mush. You're not talking about anything important because I'm just not going to be able to process.
You can't.
These kind of studies are great because it just highlights the importance of looking after our brain, our mental health. It is a huge important part of our lives. And there's no use, like you saying, Lindsay, like no use being a hero and trying to push through, because it's a real thing that our brain needs a reset and a rest. And the tests like that are showing it like conclusively. Amazing.
Just quickly, guys, this is maybe a good time. mind blank. I don't want to have a connection to our prayer now. Thinking
yes,
of
I was going to
reflection.
go there. You go first, Lynn. I was about to go there.
I thought this maybe it just just need to relax and just take a break and not as totally put your mind and your thoughts and everything to God. You can't do that. It's up to people. To say your choice. Maybe just say, sit down, just reflect and just stop and go, thank God for everything, for my day, for my family. Give a good breath. It's restart again.
Yeah.
You give it back again. And prayer is great for that sort of thing.
100%.
I've done it many times.
Amazing, Lino. Yeah, Lino, amazing, because I was just about to say, and you got in first, right? So I'll put a label on that. No, this is good. I'm glad we both didn't blank and we both went there. There are people who will listen to this podcast, the Let's Science element, who may not be necessarily people of faith. And there is something like prayer, things like, for example, mindfulness, or meditation, where you simply stop and you focus on your breathing for a couple of minutes and you become fully aware and present to where you are. And that's a good reset for it's not about letting your brain drift away. It's about becoming present to where you are, right? And in the Catholic tradition, we have all kinds of ways of doing this. One way that I find particularly useful is called the Examen, E-X-A-M-E-N. This is a type of prayer that sort of came about from St. Ignatius of Loyola, and it's an Ignatian spirituality prayer where, as you just said, Lino, at the end of your day, you re-examine your day. You examine how your day went. You are thankful for the things, to God, to the things that went well. You examine the parts of the day where you may have failed and you need to say sorry, or if it was strong enough, you might need to go to confession or something like that. And you offer the whole day to God by examining your day. But it's also, again, because it is essentially what mindfulness does without the prayer, right? What we do is it's the same kind of mindfulness, but it is putting everything into the hands of God and being present to our day, to how our day went. So it also helps to relax the mind in that same way that meditation does as well. We just call it prayer. That's a prayer is more than just relaxing your mind, but that is a natural side effect of prayer, is also that slowing of our mind as well. That's one of the benefits of the prayer. The biggest benefit obviously is our relationship with God. There's this other benefit that we have with prayer as well, where it can be meditative and it can be good for our brain too.
And it would be interesting to see if they do a study on would mental blanking occur less if you were practicing meditation or prayer on a regular basis.
I would love
that. Would be a good one, right?
I'd be to see that. Yeah. Very nice. Yes, yep.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well done. All right. Thanks for that, Caroline.
Let's Science is brought to you by StarQuest Media and is a fortnightly podcast that brings you the scientific wonders of our universe from a distinctly Catholic point of view. For more from Caroline, Lindsay, and friends, listen to the StarQuest show, Catholics of Oz. Find links from today's show at sqpn.com/science and find the Catholics of Oz at sqpn.com/Oz. Be sure to follow the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you can find podcasts, or on the SQPN YouTube channel. The generous donations of our patrons at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue Let's Science and all the shows at StarQuest, which makes our nonprofit mission possible. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. Join us next time for more scientific wonders, and thank you for listening to Let's Science on StarQuest. Here's another show on the StarQuest network you're sure to enjoy, PlayStation Portable. Find it wherever fine podcasts are found or at starquest.fm/PSP.